Have you ever had someone go from being your biggest fan to acting like you don't exist? One day, they're laughing at your jokes, making plans, replying instantly. The next, radio silence. No calls, no messages, just avoidance where their presence used to be. Now, you might be thinking, did I do something wrong? Maybe. Maybe not. But here's the truth. When someone starts ignoring you, it's not a coincidence. It's a choice. And that choice often has more to do with them than it does with you. See, people don't just disappear without reason. Some pull away because they no longer need anything from you. Others distance themselves because your growth makes them uncomfortable. And some, they were never truly invested in the first place. But here's where you take your power back. You don't need to chase, beg, or demand an explanation. The real strength lies in understanding why it happens and refusing to take it personally. Because the moment you do, something shifts. Instead of feeling rejected, you realize you're simply rising, and not everyone can handle that. So, why do people suddenly cut you off? What does it really mean? And how do you respond in a way that leaves you stronger, not broken? Stick around, because the last reason will completely change the way you see everything. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Now, let's get started. Number 1, they're testing your reaction. Have you ever felt like someone was playing a game with your emotions? One day, they're warm, responsive, and engaged. The next, it's like you don't exist. No replies, no calls, just a cold, distant silence that leaves you questioning what went wrong. But here's the thing. Sometimes this isn't about them losing interest. Sometimes it's a test. Certain people use silence as a way to measure your response. They pull back not because they're genuinely busy, not because they've suddenly lost feelings, but because they want to see how much you care, how far you'll go to bring them back, and ultimately, how much power they have over you. It's a control tactic, plain and simple. If you start double texting, over-explaining, or anxiously asking, "Hey, is everything okay?" you've just confirmed what they wanted to know. Their absence affects you. And once they realize they can make you chase, they've got leverage. Think of it like a game of tug-of-war. The moment they drop the rope, meaning they ignore you or act distant, they're watching to see if you'll pull harder. Will you grab the rope, tug with all your might, and prove to them just how much their presence matters to you? But here's the trick. What happens if you don't pull at all? What if you just let the rope fall to the ground? The game ends. That's the power of not reacting. When someone's silence is meant to manipulate you, and you refuse to play along, they lose control. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. He who needs least from others is the most powerful. The real strength doesn't come from proving how much you care, but from knowing that you don't need external validation to feel secure. The more you base your worth on someone else's attention, the more control you give them. But when you stop chasing, stop over-explaining, and stop feeling like you need to prove your worth, you become untouchable. A while back, I noticed a strange pattern with a friend of mine. Every time I got busy, whether it was focusing on work, hitting the gym, or just spending time on my own personal goals, they would suddenly withdraw. No texts, no effort, just an eerie silence. At first, I assumed they were just caught up in their own life. But then something clicked. This only happened when I pulled back first. So, I decided to test something. Instead of chasing, instead of checking in, I did absolutely nothing. No extra texts, no casual, "Hey, just checking in" messages, just silence. And guess what? A few days later, they were back, acting like nothing had ever happened. Suddenly, they were engaging again, interested, present. It was as if their disappearance had been on a timer, set to end the moment they realized I wasn't going to come looking for them. That's when I understood. This wasn't about them being genuinely busy. This was about testing whether I would run after them. And because I didn't, they lost the upper hand. Here's how you handle this kind of situation. First, recognize the pattern. If someone consistently pulls away and expects you to chase, this isn't a coincidence, it's a strategy. They're using distance as bait, waiting to see if you'll bite. Second, don't take the bait. If their silence is designed to get a reaction, the best thing you can do is give them nothing. Keep your dignity, keep your peace, keep moving forward with your life as if their presence or absence doesn't dictate your happiness. And third, remember your worth. The right people won't put you through emotional tests just to confirm how much you care. They won't force you to prove your loyalty by seeing how desperately you'll chase after them. Real connections don't require games. They flow naturally with mutual effort and respect. Number 2, they no longer benefit from you. There's nothing quite as frustrating as feeling like someone just vanished from your life. One day, they're warm, engaged, making plans, and genuinely seem to enjoy your presence. The next, silence. No calls, no replies, just a cold, distant energy that wasn't there before. And naturally, you sit there wondering, what did I do wrong? But here's a hard truth. Maybe it wasn't about you at all. Maybe they were never really there for you in the first place. See, some people don't value relationships, they value resources. Maybe they were drawn to your support, your connections, your generosity, or even just the way you made them feel. As long as they were gaining something, whether it was emotional reassurance, career advice, or just a comforting presence, they stayed plugged in. But the moment they no longer needed what you provided, they disappeared. Think of it like a power outlet. As long as their battery is low, they stick around, happily charging up from your energy, your time, your effort. But once they're fully charged or find a shinier, more convenient outlet, they unplug and move on without a second thought. This is why some people vanish without warning. It's not that you did something wrong, it's that they were never invested in you, only in what they could get from you. And this is where Stoic wisdom becomes the ultimate game changer. Epictetus once said, "Attach yourself to what is true, not to those who are temporary." The mistake most people make is attaching their self-worth to the presence of others, as if someone's loyalty or attention is the measure of their value. But the right people don't disappear just because they no longer need something from you. They stay because they see your worth beyond what you can give. The Stoics believe that suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgment of them. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." The pain of being ignored or abandoned often comes from the meaning we attach to it. If someone walks away from your life, instead of asking, "Why did they leave?" ask yourself, "Why did I feel like I needed them to stay?" Because at the core of this frustration isn't their absence, it's the belief that their presence validated something in you. But the truth is, your value isn't dependent on who stays or who leaves. It's intrinsic. So, how do you handle people like this? First, recognize the signs. If someone is only around when they need something, pay attention. People who truly value you will be there even when they don't need to be. Second, stop chasing people who leave. If their connection to you is conditional on what you provided, let them go. You're not an energy source for people to drain and discard. And finally, invest in real connections, the kind built on mutual respect, care, and appreciation, not transactions. At the end of the day, some people will leave when they no longer benefit from you. Don't take it as a loss, take it as a lesson. The Stoics remind us that external things, people, status, material possessions are fleeting. What remains is your ability to control how you respond. The ones who stay, they were never there for what you could offer. They were there for you. And that's the only kind of connection worth keeping. Number 3, they're influenced by others. Have you ever noticed how some people's attitudes toward you can shift overnight, not because of anything you did, but because of what they've been told? One day, they're warm and friendly. The next, they're cold, distant, and uninterested. You're left confused, questioning what changed. But here's the truth. Nothing changed about you. The only thing that changed was the mind of someone too weak to think for themselves. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes not just useful, but essential. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If someone allows gossip or external influence to dictate their opinion of you without seeking the truth, that speaks to their character, not yours. A mind that is easily swayed was never truly in your corner to begin with. And if their perception of you is built on unstable ground, their loyalty was always an illusion. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." You cannot control how people interpret you, how they react to rumors, or whether they choose to believe lies. But you can control how much space you give those people in your mind. A Stoic doesn't chase down falsehoods, nor do they waste energy defending themselves against people committed to misunderstanding them. Instead, they remain steady, indifferent to the fleeting opinions of those who lack discernment. I remember a time when I saw this play out firsthand. A former colleague, David, someone I had always been on good terms with, suddenly started acting differently. He was distant, avoided eye contact, and barely acknowledged me in meetings. At first, I thought he was just stressed with work. But then, I heard through someone else that he had been told I had spoken badly about him, something completely false. Instead of asking me directly, he chose to believe it. I had two choices: chase him down and explain myself, or let him reveal his true nature. So, I chose the latter. I didn't try to correct the rumors, didn't beg for understanding. And you know what happened? Months later, he reached out, realizing the same person who spread lies about me had done the same to him. But by then, I had already moved on. Seneca wisely observed, "Associate only with those who improve you." If someone discards you without thought, they were never truly aligned with your values. The Stoic approach is simple. Do not engage in the pettiness of gossip. Do not attempt to control others' perceptions, and do not give weight to the opinions of the easily influenced. Instead, focus on your own virtue, your own integrity, and your own peace of mind. So, how do you handle this in a Stoic way? First, do not defend yourself to those unwilling to seek the truth. Their judgment is not yours to fix. Second, let people reveal their own nature. Those who value truth will seek it. Those who don't were never reliable in the first place. And finally, embrace indifference. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the opinions of others have no bearing on your reality unless you let them. A Stoic does not grieve the loss of illusions. Number 4, you've stopped playing by their rules. When you stop tolerating manipulation, something interesting happens. People who once relied on controlling you begin to pull away. At first, it might feel unsettling. Someone who was once close to you suddenly becomes distant. They stop reaching out, stop including you, and may even act cold. But when you take a step back, you realize their behavior didn't change because of something you did. It changed because you stopped playing by their rules. Here's the truth. Some people only stay connected as long as they can dictate how you think, act, or respond. The moment you stop tolerating their guilt trips, their subtle manipulation, or their need for control, they begin to fade away not because you wronged them, but because they never valued you as an equal, only as someone they could influence. Think of it like a puppet with cut strings. As long as the strings are intact, the puppeteer controls every movement. But what happens when the strings are cut? The puppet no longer moves the way they want, and instead of accepting this change, the puppeteer simply walks away. That's exactly how manipulators operate. The moment you stop reacting the way they expect, they lose interest not because you changed, but because they lost their power over you. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. The price of true independence is losing those who wanted you dependent. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. True independence means standing firm in your values, even when it costs you certain relationships. Those who truly respect you will adjust to your boundaries. Those who only valued control, they'll disappear. And that's a blessing, not a loss. I once knew someone who constantly tried to control how I responded to situations. If I disagreed with them, they'd guilt trip me. If I set a boundary, they'd tell me I was being unfair. For a long time, I played along, thinking that if I just kept the peace, things would get better. But one day, I stopped. I chose not to explain, not to justify, just to stand my ground. And their response? They vanished. No conversation, no argument, just distance. At first, it felt like a loss. But then I realized it wasn't. It was freedom. So, how do you handle people like this? First, recognize the pattern. If someone only sticks around when they can control you, that's not a real connection. Second, stop justifying yourself. The moment you stop explaining and start acting, they lose their grip on you. And finally, let them walk away. If someone only valued you and they could influence you, their absence is proof that you're moving in the right direction. At the end of the day, not everyone will celebrate your independence. But the ones who leave, they were never truly there for you, only for the control they had over you. Let them go, stand firm in who you are, and enjoy the peace that comes with knowing you are finally free. Number 5, they feel intimidated by your growth. The moment you start growing, some people will distance themselves not because you've done anything wrong, but because your progress makes them uncomfortable. They liked you as long as you stayed on their level, as long as you weren't a reminder of everything they could be, but aren't willing to work for. And when they see you rising, instead of supporting you, they pull away. Here's the truth. Some people would rather lose you than confront their own insecurities. They don't hate your success, they hate what it forces them to see in themselves. Your growth highlights their stagnation, making them question their own choices, discipline, and ambition. Instead of using your success as motivation, they see it as a threat. Rather than pushing themselves to improve, they retreat. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Grow and let them choose to keep up. Your growth is not an attack on anyone. It's simply a test of who is willing to rise with you. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." The ones who truly belong in your life won't be intimidated by your progress, they'll be inspired by it. They won't make excuses, they won't try to downplay your efforts, and they certainly won't guilt you into staying the same just to make them feel secure. When people start pulling away as you evolve, take it as a sign. First, never shrink yourself to make others comfortable. If someone can't handle your growth, that's their battle to fight, not yours. Second, pay attention to energy shifts. If someone starts acting differently the moment you level up, they were never truly rooting for you. And finally, let them go with peace. Growth comes with a price, the loss of those who refuse to grow with you. But the real ones? They won't just keep up, they'll push you even higher. At the end of the day, your journey isn't meant to be slowed down for the sake of those who choose to remain stagnant. Keep rising, and let the right people rise with you. Number 6, you've exposed their true nature. When you stop tolerating dishonesty, manipulation, or selfishness, something remarkable happens. Some people will disappear not because you pushed them away, but because they can't exist in a space where their deception no longer works. They relied on half-truths, hidden motives, and manipulation to keep control. And the moment you see through it, they run. Here's the truth. When you expose someone's true nature, they only have two choices: change or leave. And most people, they choose to leave. It's easier for them to walk away than to face their own flaws, selfishness, or dishonesty. You didn't lose them, they lost the ability to manipulate you. Think of it like turning on the light in a dark room. Everything looks fine in the shadows, but the moment you flip the switch, you see the mess, the dust, the things that were hidden. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's exactly what happens when you recognize someone's true nature. The moment the light of truth shines, those who thrived in the darkness can't stand it. They'll say you've changed, but what they really mean is, you stopped letting me take advantage of you. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. The truth offends only those living a lie. A person who is honest, accountable, and genuine has nothing to fear from the truth. But those who thrive on deception will hate it because it exposes them. As Marcus Aurelius put it, if someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth. The ones who can't handle truth don't seek to change, they seek to avoid being exposed. This concept has been echoed throughout history. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "I'm not upset that you lied to me. I'm upset that from now on, I can't believe you." That's the real consequence of dishonesty. Once the illusion is shattered, there's no going back. Those who relied on lies and manipulation don't just lose control over you, they lose their place in your life altogether. So, how do you handle this? First, don't regret seeing the truth. It may be painful, but it's far better than living in a lie. Second, let them go. If someone disappears the moment they can no longer deceive you, they were never genuine in the first place. And finally, stand firm in your integrity. The right people will appreciate your honesty, and the wrong ones will run from it. At the end of the day, the truth doesn't destroy real relationships, it only destroys the false ones. Let those who thrived in deception vanish. You're better off without them. Number 7, it's a blessing in disguise. When people start ignoring you, it stings. It makes you question what went wrong, and it can even make you feel unwanted. But here's the truth. Being ignored is not a loss, it's a filter. People who suddenly distance themselves without explanation are revealing something important. They were never truly meant to stay. Instead of seeing this as something to grieve, what if you saw it for what it really is, a blessing in disguise? Think of it like a garden shedding its dead leaves. Trees don't mourn the leaves that fall in autumn. They let go to make space for stronger growth in the spring. That's exactly how life works. Some people are seasonal. They were never meant to grow with you long term. When they walk away or ignore you, they're making space for the right people to enter your life. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Do not grieve those who walked away. Be grateful they revealed themselves. If someone can ignore your presence so easily, it means they never truly valued it. And that's not a loss, it's clarity. As Epictetus once said, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. The ones who walk away were never part of your long-term path. They were just passing through. History is full of individuals who experienced rejection only to realize it was their greatest advantage. Take Albert Einstein, for example. He was ignored and even ridiculed by many in his early career. But instead of chasing validation from those who dismissed him, he focused on his work. And eventually, the world couldn't ignore him anymore. The right people, the right opportunities, and the right recognition found him because he stayed true to his path. So, how do you handle this? First, don't regret seeing the truth. It may be painful, but it's far better than living in a lie. Second, let them go. If someone disappears the moment they can no longer deceive you, they were never genuine in the first place. And finally, stand firm in your integrity. The right people will appreciate your honesty, and the wrong ones will run from it. At the end of the day, the truth doesn't destroy real relationships, it only destroys the false ones. Let those who thrived in deception vanish. You're better off without them. I would love to hear about your journey and triumphs. Please hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below to share your story, your successes, and even the challenges you've overcome. If you're not sure what to comment, just write peacefulness to show that you've completed this session. Your engagement helps this community grow toward wisdom and the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity. I'll leave 2 more videos here, so you can continue learning and growing on your personal development journey. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.